Should you install carpet in the kitchen? Absolutely not. Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Morrow. I'm an interior designer located in Washington, D.C., and I'm excited to be here today to answer some questions for you that can be tricky and also not so tricky about interior design. If you're a designer watching this, here are some things I'm going to answer for you to help make your design process and your client work a little easier. So let's get into it. First question is, what's the biggest mistake new interior designers make when creating layouts? My answer is they don't always factor in clearance and traffic patterns. When you have a room, it's very easy to just want to place miscellaneous pieces of furniture in it. For example, in a living room, you want to have a comfortable sofa, a coffee table, and maybe accent chairs, but you have to make sure that each item is spaced apart appropriately. Why is that? Well, you want to make sure that there's enough clearance for everyone to move throughout the room comfortably without getting in the way of another guest that may be seated and without bumping into other furniture. It is very easy to bump into a coffee table when you're moving throughout a living room. So those are two mistakes that I often see designers make when they're planning a layout. Next up, how do you choose the right lighting for a room? So one trick I always try to encourage interior designers to follow is layering the lighting. You want to make sure that you have ceiling lighting accounted for, and that can be your recessed lighting, a chandelier, but you want to have a source of lighting from the ceiling. Then you want to have some sort of accent lighting, whether that's a floor lamp or a table lamp, and then you want to close it out by having task lighting. Perhaps in a living room, there's an accent chair, add a task light so that if someone's sitting there, they can read. So those are three types of lighting to include in a space, and so you layer it. Now, what you need in the space will also come down to how much natural light the space gets. There's a lot of natural light in a room. You likely won't need as much lighting during the day. However, you might need a lot at night because that room is so naturally well lit that at night when there is no lighting coming in from outside, you want to keep it as bright perhaps as it was during the day. In that case, you may want a lot of recessed lights that are dimmable, make the room as bright as you want or as intimate as you want. But you also want to make sure that you include the floor lamp or table lamp and some sort of task lighting. If you have something like a kitchen, for example, there's also a layered approach to that. Recessed lighting from the top, then your pendant lights, which also act as accent lighting, and task lighting if you're standing at your kitchen island and you're chopping vegetables and fruit, or maybe you're sitting there enjoying a meal. That is your task light to help you see your way through. And then finally, under cabinet lighting is also really important and functional for a kitchen, but it's still a layered approach. So it depends on the kind of natural lighting that's coming in, the lighting that you want to achieve at night. Do you want the room to be extremely bright or dim and intimate? And then finally, have that layered lighting approach. What are the best colors for making a space feel bigger and brighter? Well, this also comes down to the natural lighting. The more natural lighting a room gets, the easier it will be to make that space feel bigger and brighter because that natural light is going to reflect off of the paint colors and add a lot of brightness and allure to the room. If you have a room that's not well lit, then that can be incredibly difficult. A lot of designers and homeowners assume that if you have a room that's not well lit, you can just paint it white and it's going to make it bright. That can actually have the opposite effect. Sometimes those rooms that are very dark and do not receive a lot of natural light, when they're painted white, they can actually look very shadowy and a little bit on the dingy side. So I encourage you to look for a color that has a very high LRV, which stands for light reflectance value. The higher the LRV, the brighter that color is going to be. The lower the LRV, the moodier and darker that color is going to be. So for example, black will always have a very low LRV. White will have higher LRVs. So that gives you a sense of how you can use the LRV to understand bright versus darker painting. However, the natural light is going to have a big impact and influence on that paint color. So you want to make sure that you understand which direction the room is facing. And the last thing I want to add about this piece is the color temperature of your light bulbs. You have warm white, soft white, bright white, and you also have daylight. Daylight is going to cast a bit of a blue hue, which will make that paint look a little on the blue side. If you go with soft or warm white, that has a bit of a yellow hue, and so that's going to actually make the paint color look a little more yellow. Bright white is always my favorite to select for a room, especially those rooms that have the cooler colors. That soft white's going to bring that coolness out, whereas if you have a warm color, a soft white or warm white will do that color a lot of justice. So take into account the direction the room is facing, how much natural light it's getting, and also what the color temperature is of your light bulbs. Should you install carpet in the kitchen? Absolutely not. Under no circumstance should there be carpet in your kitchen, no matter how much you love it, how much it's trending. It's not trending currently, but if it ever trends, do not follow the trend. You should not place carpet in your kitchen. Are area rugs necessary on hardwood floors? I say yes. Now keep in mind, every designer will have a different perspective about this. My perspective is yes. And the reason is because you want to protect the wood and you want to protect the finish. Hardwood floors are beautiful and expensive to have installed, so protecting them at all costs is very important. Of course, placing an area rug on them is one key component, but also placing an area rug pad underneath the area rug is also really critical. Why is that? Well, if you have an area rug that has color in it, you want to make sure that color doesn't impact the hardwood floors. Sometimes the two can combine and it does not create a good result. Secondly, when you're stepping from the outside onto your carpet, or if you're just having a lot of high traffic on your carpet, having that extra layer through a rug pad is going to offer more protection for your hardwood floors and just make the rug feel softer when you're walking on it. So my vote is to yes, protect your hardwood floors with an area rug, but also keep in mind that the portion of the hardwood floor that is covered by an area rug is not going to fade as quickly as the parts of the hardwood floors that are not protected by an area rug. So when you pull that area rug up, do not be surprised if that portion of the hardwood floor is darker than the other portions of the area rug that have not been protected. So that's another thing for you to keep in mind. But yes, protect the hardwood floors, keep them safe from all the elements and all the high traffic. What's the best finish for walls in high moisture rooms like a bathroom? You always want to go for something like satin or semi-gloss. Satin and semi-gloss are two finishes that are very easy to clean. However, when it comes to a room that gets a lot of moisture, like a laundry room or a bathroom, semi-gloss is always your best bet because they're going to be mildew and moisture resistant, which is really important for a bathroom because it is seeing a lot of moisture and a lot of steam on a daily basis. So when it comes to a full bath or a room where you're actually bathing and taking a shower, semi-gloss is the best route to take. And when it comes to something like a powder room where you're using water but there's not a lot of steam and moisture, you can go for a finish like satin. We talked about floors a second ago, so now let's talk about what the best type of flooring is for a family that has pets and kids. The answer is LVP, which stands for luxury vinyl plank. LVP is extremely durable. It's not one of those surfaces where you can spill a liquid on it and allow it to sit. You still have to get it up very quickly. But it's also really good with scratches, scratch resistant. So I really recommend luxury vinyl plank. Hardwood floors are also another way to go. They're beautiful and they're very authentic. So those are two that I would recommend to you if you are considering replacing floors in your home. And let's talk about my favorite, wallpaper. What are some of the best places to put wallpaper in the home? Everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, except for those spaces that get a lot of moisture and steam, like a full bathroom and a laundry room. That steam is going to eventually cause that wallpaper to slowly begin to peel. So I say use them in a powder room, another room that doesn't get a lot of steam and moisture, but it does have some water. And you can use them everywhere else, your entryway, home office, living room, dining room, great room. You can have so much fun exploring with wallpaper. And don't just think about wallpapering the walls, but also consider putting it on the ceiling. Have fun with wallpaper. Use it on an accent wall. Maybe you have a piece of picture frame molding. You can place wallpaper inside of that molding. If you don't want to put a piece of artwork above your bed, for example, you can put a piece of wallpaper and frame it with picture frame molding. You can also consider wall murals on one wall or several walls in a room, but have so much fun with wallpaper. It has come a long way, and the options truly are limited. So wallpaper goes everywhere except the full bath and the laundry room. Enjoy the wallpaper. Do not be afraid of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot today. If you are interested in learning more about interior design tips and content, Foyr Neo, their YouTube channel, has a wealth of tips, advice, and guidance to help you. And you can also visit my website, marldesignstudios.com, where you can find some design inspiration looking at previous creations that I've made for my clients. So thank you for watching.